All right, let's go ahead and open up the doors to Pharmacist Friday on Daily with Doc. My name is Becca Dukes. Please open up that waiting room, let everybody in. And folks, if you are watching the live stream and you would like to join us live also, you may do so by going to dailywithdoczoom.com. Again, that's dailywithdoczoom.com. This program is being sponsored by dailywithdoc.com, and my name is Becca Dukes. I am super excited to have the opportunity to be able to bring information to you as an empowered individual. Don't ever let anybody take your empowerment away from you, because folks, we have more power than we think we do, and what more than what they want us to know we do when it comes to our own health journey. And that's what this program is all about, is sharing information, puts more tools in your toolbox so that you can make decisions that are, in my opinion, a little more common sense wise. But I know common sense is not everybody's common sense. That's what my daddy told me. But when you hear the information that you're going to hear today and how easy it is to continue to support a thriving body instead of just barely surviving, you're going to be very appreciative. So please get back with the person that shared this program with you. Let them know what you appreciate most about the program and how they can help you create a healthier health journey. If there's no one to thank, we do have a call team for those who have never tried any of the products that we mentioned on the program, who have never spoken to anybody about longevity or Pharmacist Ben or Dr. Joel Wallach. Those, if that is you, you've never talked to anybody, nobody sent you to this program to check it out, then feel free to give us a call on 855-949-3377. Again, 855-949-3377. You will find a team of certified holistic health coaches that have been trained on how to look at the 4 areas of health, how they are affected by nutritional deficiencies, and then also the solutions to help you overcome those deficiencies, and among other things. So we do look at the body as a whole, folks. It's not this for that. It's you address the body as a whole, and the body itself will thank you for taking care of it. And that is one thing we need to do, is take care of this body that has been given to us. Now, today, okay, this is going to be more for ladies, but guys, listen up, because you probably have some ladies in your circle of friends, in your family, in your life that you care about, and you might see some of these symptoms that they may not see themselves. So there is something, and Ben, can I say that the term, it's a medical term, right? Or does it just, is it a real, is it?
No, it's, are you talking to me?
Yeah, you're the
Okay.
only
Yeah,
on
I don't
the.
want to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, it's a medical diagnosis, number one. Number two, it's a simple phrase that if you just break it down, you'll understand it. But we can talk about that here in a second. But it is officially a
Yeah,
medical diagnosis. But it's English. It's
it's
not Latin.
English.
It's not Latin the way a lot of diagnoses are. I got a really cool note yesterday, not cool, but interesting text yesterday from a gal who said that her friend was suffering from something called pityriasis rubris. Pityriasis rubris. I forgot what the third. Oh, hang on a second. I'll tell you here. Pityriasis rubris. Hang on just a second here, because it was really cool and I wanted to share it with you guys. Bum, 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 bum. Continue on here. I'm going to look for this in my text.
Okay, so while he's looking at that, we are going to be discussing things that if you're, ladies, if you're experiencing hair loss, if you have pelvic pain, irregular periods, infertility, overweight, fatigue, high testosterone levels, even acne, not teenage acne, but just acne as adults, then you may have some of the symptoms that are associated with the topic that we are going to be talking about today. And that can also be play into how your body's able to control blood sugar and blood pressure. So I know that there's a lot of people that are experiencing lots of different symptoms that I may have just mentioned. And this may be the show for you, or the show that you share with somebody that is experiencing some of these symptoms. And to help us learn about the body and why things go awry, we have an amazing gentleman from the pharmacy realm of the medical community, Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, who has taken a special interest in the nutritional side of life, using food as medicine. And as we use food as medicine, something that's taught in pharmacy school that's not taught as in depth by any means in medical school is the interactions that the body has with food and medicine, and putting it all together. And when he saw all the benefits and of promoting nutrition, yeah, Kmart decided he just was not Kmart material in their pharmacy. So I'm super excited to have with us today Pharmacist Ben Fuchs on Pharmacist Fridays here on Daily with Doc. Pharmacist Ben.
Hello,
How,
Rebecca. It's nice to see you as always. I'm really getting to look forward to my Fridays with Pharmacist Fridays.
well, I'm very glad to hear that, because I definitely look forward to it. I look forward to every day that we're able to share information to help somebody. But Pharmacist Fridays, absolutely. I know Dr. Wallach is on here, so I don't want him to get.
Oh, I better watch what I say. Thank you, Dr.
We
Wallach.
love you, Doc. But I love the fact that he's staying connected. He wants to learn, as he is always researching for information himself. So let's talk today, and this will probably be after you tell me about that super long, difficult word that you can't even pronounce, most of us. And it may just be a few simple symptoms. So
It always is. It's really, that's the most important message that I want to get across as a healthcare professional, and I want this on my tombstone when I die, is that health is simple. The body wants to heal. It's designed to heal. We're the descendants of ancestors who healed when they got a cut, when they got a break, when they got an infection, when they got some kind of a trauma. Their bodies healed, and they had us. So we have that built into us through millions of years of evolution. We have healing built into us. It's in the body's nature to heal. If the body is not healing, something is interfering with that process. There's only 3 things that can interfere with the process of healing from a physical perspective. Now, I always have to preface everything with spiritual, mental, emotional, and there's always a spiritual connection to well-being, or the lack thereof, as well as mental and emotional components. I never want to be accused of marginalizing those or dismissing those, and I don't want to be the kind of nutritionist who just says, just take this, because there's always going to be spiritual, mental components to health, or the lack of it. But from a physical perspective, there's only 3 things that can go wrong with the body, which means there's only 3 things we need to address. When I say go wrong with the body, I mean go wrong with the cell, because all disease is cell disease. We focus on the organs and the structures almost like a magician's trick. By focusing on the organs and the structures, we become disempowered, because you can't do anything to an organ or a structure unless you address the cell. But because the cell only needs 3 things, we can do it ourselves. Those 3 things are oxygen. The cell needs oxygen. That's what drives all the biochemistry in a cell. A cell needs nutrition. That's the food that a cell eats. A cell is a miniature version of a human being, or a miniature version of an organism. in the sense that a cell has a skeletal system, it has a reproductive system, it has a digestive system, it has a detoxification system, just like we do. It's a miniature version of us, and it eats just like us, but it doesn't eat pizza and broccoli and tuna fish sandwiches. It eats the mighty 90 essential nutrients. Anybody ever ask you what the mighty 90 essential nutrients are? They are the cell's version of food. They're the cell's version of hamburgers and pizza and tuna fish sandwiches and broccoli. Cell eats the mighty 90 essential nutrients, and that's the only thing, aside from oxygenation, the only thing go wrong with the cell is, or suffocation, I should say, lack of oxygenation, is malnutrition or lack of nutrition, and toxicity. Those are the only three things that can go wrong with the cell, thus an organ, thus the organism. So important. Why? Because there is nothing in the doctor's magical bag of tricks that can feed a cell, that can oxygenate a cell, or that can detoxify a cell. Nothing. Now, while physicians, and I have a lot of physicians who are, a lot of friends who are physicians, they're good people, they mean well. I've been to emergency rooms for myself and for other people. The people who work in emergency rooms are saints, absolute angels. They're the most beautiful, helpful people. But the model is not equipped to handle starvation, cellular starvation, suffocation, and toxification, which is the root of all disease. Starvation, suffocation, toxification. Now, once a cell becomes starved or suffocated or toxic, it will die. First, it will start to become dysfunctional, and then it will die. That's actually a good thing when it dies. It gets out of the way. However, when the cell dies, it leaks out all of its insides, its internal organs. The internal organs of a cell can be very caustic, acidic, very enzymatically active. And so the body has a mechanism for protecting the good tissue and the good cells from all this toxicity from the dead cells. You know, we bury our dead, and archaeologists measure the sophistication of a society or a culture by whether or not they buried their dead. When a culture buries their dead, archaeologists say, oh, that was a sophisticated culture. They knew about burial. And that's how they can tell how advanced a culture was. Why do they bury their dead? What is so sophisticated and so advanced about burying the dead? And, you know, we have to bury dead. When people die, they got to get buried right away, or they got to get cremated. Because dead bodies emit toxins, bacteria, acids, caustic chemicals, caustic enzymes. So we got to bury the dead. In the old days, when there was a war and they had castles, the invading army couldn't get across the castle. They would throw dead bodies across the castle wall to poison the castle, the people in the castle. Even today, guerrilla groups and terrorist groups will put dead bodies in the water supply. Dead bodies represent danger and toxicity. And so the body has evolved a mechanism for protecting itself from the dead bodies that we call cells, which are, as I said, miniature versions of people, miniature versions of organisms. That protective mechanism is made up of fibers and fluid. The fibers and fluid form a protective wall around the dead cell or cells. That protective wall is great because it protects the rest of the tissue from all the stuff that's coming out of the dead bodies, the dead cells. However, the wall will also keep oxygen from getting through and nutrition from getting through and toxins from leaving. It's like a barrier. It's good if it happens once in a while, but it happens too much. Now we're going to have a further blockade of oxygen and nutrition and a further prevention of the egress or exiting of toxicity, which will lead to more cell death. By the way, this fiber and goo or fiber and fluid wall is called inflammation. So dead cells from starvation, suffocation, and toxification lead to inflammation, which leads to more suffocation, starvation, and toxification, which leads to more inflammation, which leads to more suffocation and toxification and starvation, which leads to more inflammation. And this is the downward spiral of disease. It takes many, many years before we notice it because cells are so tiny. It can take decades before somebody notices that there's these large pockets of death formed as a result of inflammation, which itself was formed as a result of starvation, suffocation, and detoxification. This is how all disease ensues, all of it. It's not medical. It's not even scientific. It's logic. This should not be difficult at all for anybody to understand. Suffocation, starvation, suffocation lead to cell death, lead to inflammation, lead to more suffocation, starvation, toxification, lead to more cell death and more inflammation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's disease in a nutshell. Nothing medical about it. It's all logic. And that's why I tease Rebecca a little bit when she gives her little speech about this is not meant to, blah, 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 blah. We can all do this. We can all do this. You don't have to have a special degree to talk about nutrition for starvation, oxygen for suffocation, and detoxification or keeping the system clean. Now, everything I just said here today, I'm sure unless you've heard me say it before, you haven't heard it before. The people who we are talking to have no clue about this. They have a condition and they don't know what the heck to do. And they go to the doctor, and the doctor gives them some Latin gobbledygook and says, you're going to be on this medicine the rest of your life. Because the doctor doesn't know what I just told you right now either. Because doctors, and again, this is not a knock on doctors. I love my doctor friends. But this is very important I'm going to say right now. Doctors are not scientists necessarily. Some of them are, but not necessarily. Your GP does not have to understand science. Your MD does not have to understand science. They are technicians. They can read a manual, or they can perform surgical skills because they have good dexterity. But they are not trained to understand this. Now, some do. The ones who pursue health and healing seriously will understand everything I said, but that's not in their wheelhouse. And if we go to a doctor to get treated for a condition, they're not going to know about starvation, suffocation, and intoxication. They're going to know about inflammation. They're going to give you an anti-inflammatory, perhaps, but they're not going to understand the causal nature of it. In fact, unfortunately, many of them are very dismissive of this. I got a text yesterday. This is what I was alluding to earlier from a guy, a friend of mine who had a friend, and he had a condition called PRP, pityriasis rubris piloris. What the heck? Pityriasis rubris piloris. What do you think that means, Becca? Pityriasis? It's just Latin gibberish. Pityriasis is Latin for bran. It refers to flakes. Rubris means red. Piloris means hair follicles. It's red flakes that are forming around hair follicles. How the heck does that help that patient? That patient doesn't know what the heck to do. Oh my God, I got PRP, pityriasis, rubris piloris. Now, all that patient can do now is wear a little T-shirt that says, I have pityriasis piloris rubris. Race for the pityriasis piloris rubris cure. You know, whatever the heck, we have this crazy idea that our diagnosis is relevant to the healing process. It's not. Our diagnosis is simply a description of what's happening. So this guy goes to the doctor. He says, doctor, I got these red flakes all over. It seemed to be located around my hair, like right near my hair follicles. The doctor goes, oh, that's pityriasis rubris piloris. Oh, great. I just told you I had that. So he repeats back to you what you just told him, but he does it in Latin because he's a wizard with a little wizard's hat and a little mortar and pestle. Like he speaks Latin. I mean, I'm just teasing. That's not, you know, the point is that we don't understand healing and we think medicine is healing and we think our diagnosis is relevant. It's not for the healing process. It's only relevant if you want to wear a little T-shirt and a little baseball cap that tells people what you have. That's it. It's not relevant for healing. So how do you heal? Well, starvation, suffocation, toxification lead to inflammation. All disease has an inflammatory component, all of it. There's no disease without it. Inflammation, by the way, is good because inflammation initiates the healing process. The problem is when you have too much inflammation, when you have too much starvation, suffocation, toxification, and cellular death. So inflammation is not a bad thing. It's inflammation that is extreme and chronic that is the problem, which is to say that if you want to reverse a health challenge, you go back to the starvation, suffocation, and toxification element. Now, I always talk about the GI, about the intestine, about leaky gut. Everything backtracks to leaky gut because that is the only place toxicity can enter into the body. That is the only place toxicity can enter into the body is through the gut, unless you're injecting through the skin. We're going to assume for now you're not, but people who do inject through the skin have many of the same health challenges, including autoimmune health challenges and chronic disease challenges and skin diseases, etc., that people who don't inject things through their skins. But we're going to leave that aside for now. This is why the intestine is so important. We've talked about it a lot. I'm not going to talk about it necessarily today, but I just want to say the intestine is so important because that's how toxicity enters into the bloodstream. It's also where malnourishment can occur because nutrients are absorbed in the intestine. This is so, so, so important. When we have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or leaky gut or a celiac disease or any kind of intestinal health challenge, not only are you going to be dealing with toxicity, you're now going to be dealing with malnourishment. And to compound the malnourishment, our food does not supply our nutrients, and most people aren't supplementing. So that compounds the malnourishment. And then once the cells die and you have inflammation, that blocks oxygen delivery. So for many reasons, you always start with the digestive system. Always, always, always. Now, once the digestive system breaks down, the intestine breaks down, we don't handle energy correctly. Once you don't handle energy correctly, your body has to start dealing with energy release in a different way. And this changes the blood sugar system. Once you don't have enough energy, the body you have to start dealing with cortisol, and cortisol mobilizes sugar in a different way, and you run off into a whole bunch of different secondary symptoms following poor energy production or poor handling of energy. On top of that, we have a standard American diet that gives us lots of energy in the form of calories, but not the micronutrients to help the body process the calories. This was one of Dr. Wallach's brilliant insights, if I can be so presumptuous as to quote Dr. Wallach, when he noticed that micronutrient deficiencies were behind health challenges and diseases and ultimately death. We got lots of energy. We got lots of calories. In fact, over the last 150 years, our ability to produce calories per capita has gone through the roof because of farming techniques, but at the expense of micronutrients. One of the most important problems that we have in terms of biochemistry and as it's related to our health is too much energy in the form of calories and not enough nutrients to help the body process that energy. We have an energy surfeit. For the first time, really, in human history over the last 150 years, we have a chronic energy surfeit, not a deficit, a surfeit, too much energy without the micronutrients to process the energy. This is why diabetes and insulin resistance are going through the roof. And between those 2 points, you have the base of the triangle of disease. Now, once those 2 points go awry, you run into the thyroid, the adrenal thyroid complex, and that's where disease really is the jumping off point, but I'm not even going to go there. We're just going to talk about these 2 points, the digestive system, the intestine, and the blood sugar system. The blood sugar system is your energy system. Your intestine is your nutrient absorption system, and also, unfortunately, your toxic delivery system or toxic purification system. Those are the only 2 points you need to address to deal with all chronic degenerative diseases. There's also a very, very important relationship between insulin and the blood sugar system and the steroid hormones, which include all the reproductive hormones, as well as cortisol and vitamin D. So testosterone and estrogen and progesterone and DHEA, as well as cortisol and also vitamin D, are intimately linked to insulin, which itself is intimately linked to blood sugar. Insulin is a growth substance. It stimulates growth. If you take a cancer cell and put it in a petri dish and then put insulin in it, the cancer cell will go nuts. Insulin signals growth. Insulin signals cell division. But if there's not enough micronutrients present, the cells will grow defectively and out of control. Insulin is a growth substance. It tells cells to divide and to grow. Sugar stimulates insulin. A broken down digestive system stimulates sugar release from the liver and activates the drive for the intake of sugar. So you've got dysfunctional intestine, poor malabsorption, leaky gut from inflammation at the level of the intestine, from the eating the wrong foods, eating fried oils. I don't know if I told you this before, but fried oils are majorly inflammatory for the intestine, especially deep fried oils. There's never any need for eating fried oils should never happen. There's never any health benefit to eating a fried vegetable oil. And then you have disruptions in the blood sugar system that throws off the steroid hormone system. And then you start dealing with stress issues and then thyroid issues, and you're off to the disease races. So we're here to talk about PCOS. Based on everything I said today in the last 15 minutes, if you can just connect the dots, you'll see that PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, is a growth issue. Polycyst means many cysts. A cyst is an out-of-control growth of tissue. Represents like a tumor. It's not a tumor, but it's very similar. It's cells that are dividing very rapidly. Based on everything I said today, what do you think would cause cells to divide rapidly and out of control? Insulin and sugar leading to insulin. Anytime you have a cyst, you have a skin tag, you have a boil, you have a growth, you have a tumor, you have a fibroid, these represent excess growth. Boom, insulin. You hear excess growth, you should think insulin. You think insulin, you should think blood sugar. What does the digestive system and the blood sugar system, the base of the triangle of disease, which are behind all of these chronic degenerative health challenges, have in common? Food. These are all food conditions. Not because I say so or I'm asserting it or I'm some kind of organic Mr. David Avocado Wolf, Boulder, Colorado, hippy dippy guy. I'm not. This is just logic. Our health challenges are food challenges. Now, if you're dealing with a client who's got a whole bunch of health challenges, that's really good news, because once you start to correct food issues, the symptoms are going to go away. You can completely reverse symptoms depending on how far down the rabbit hole they are, but you can begin to reverse symptoms right away. That's why fasting is so dramatic, because when you fast, you immediately stop the flow of toxicity into the bloodstream. Immediately. You immediately start to heal the gut. The intestine, when we say the gut, we mean the intestine. The intestine is the fastest healing tissue in the body, along with the skin. And the skin and the intestine have a lot in common. So this condition, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, which, by the way, is becoming an epidemic, no surprise. It's linked with menstrual problems. They call it dysmenorrhea, body hair, hirsutism, hair on the back, hair on the chest, hair on the belly, weight gain, obesity, especially around the belly, the viscera, acne, zits, boils, oily skin. If it's infertility, alopecia, hair loss. You could have skin tags sticking out from under your armpits or on your neck sometimes. You could have hyperpigmentation. dark, especially on the under the armpits, it's a big, big, big mess. Infertility, if it's if I think I said infertility, if it's or a menstrual problems, all of these are related to the production of hormones out of the cyst. So the cyst forms from excess blood sugar, and PCOS should first and foremost be treated as a blood sugar condition. Then you run into female hormone problems because the cysts are in the ovaries, and ovarian tissue produces steroid hormones, estrogen and testosterone, estrogen and androgens. So first you have the cyst, then you have the excess male and female hormones. That's PCOS. Cysts develop, excess hormone, female and male hormones are produced. That's it. But to the patient, you've got a woman who is having terrible periods. She's infertile. Her skin is oily. She's breaking out. She's obese or overweight. She's got hair on her face. She's got a mustache. She's got body hair. This is a very troubling skin condition, or very troubling health condition. I'm sorry, health condition, obviously, and nobody knows what to do. But now, if you understand what I just told you, now you know what to do. Number one, you work on intestinal health. The PCOS patient oftentimes is dealing with dyspepsia or problems digesting food or absorbing foods. You start at the level of this, well, you really start at the level of the mouth by having patients chew. And all diabetics or pre-diabetics or people who are dealing with blood sugar issues, dysglycemic issues, should practice chewing. When you chew your food, you reduce the load on the pancreas, because there are enzymes in your saliva that help foods start to be that help begin the digestive process. Also, by the way, thinking about your food improves the digestive process. In fact, if you just think about food right now, you'll notice you're probably going to salivate, which is why paying attention to while you're eating is so important. Not eating while you're watching TV or in a meeting or driving or whatever, how most of us eat. So yes, it's true. The brain and the mouth are where the digestive process begins, but it begins in earnest in the stomach. And we know many people are suffering from achlorhydria, which is a major cause of SIBO, which is a major cause of leaky gut. So using your ultimate enzymes for your PCOS patient, ultimate enzymes. The ultimate enzymes also contain bile salts, which are important for the intestine. So in addition to your enzymes, you're getting bile salt, and you're also getting betaine HCl for the stomach, all of which can improve intestinal health. All digestive enzymes can improve intestinal health. Then you move on to the intestine. You work with the I-20, your PCOS patient should be doing the I-26, the nightly essence, the ultimate microbiome, the entire digestive pack. The PCOS patient should be doing the digestive pack to work on the digestive system. Then you move to the blood sugar system. And I know we sell the healthy blood sugar pack for people who have problems with blood sugar, but you know what? Everybody should be taking the healthy blood sugar pack. Everybody, to help support sugar processing in the body, whether or not you have full-blown PCOS symptoms or anything else, just for longevity. Sugar control is incredibly important. The healthy blood sugar pack with the sweeties, the ultimate selenium, I would throw in the ultimate niacin, all help the body process sugar. Of course, keeping your sugar intake down is always important. Going ketogenic, paleo, skipping meals, intermittent fasting, all of these are great strategies to keep your blood sugar stable. Your PCOS patient needs to be keeping the blood sugar stable and working on digestive health. That alone will be life-changing for a PCOS patient who's been going to the doctor and not getting any results. There's nothing that the doctor can do. There's no medical treatment for PCOS, none. However, there are surgical procedures that doctors will do to help alleviate endometriosis or polycysts or dysmenorrhea, problems with the menstrual cycle. They'll do surgery. They'll take out the ovaries. They'll do ablations on the female reproductive system. They have no problem doing that, but they cannot take care of the problem. Now, the last piece of the puzzle is going to be the hormone estrogen, the female hormone estrogen. Estrogen is, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it, but I'll just use a euphemism. It's a crap show hormone. Now, obviously, it's an important hormone because all hormones are important, and estrogen is one of the most important, but it's so powerful. It's the most powerful of all the steroid hormones that the body has to eliminate it out of the body quickly, has to get rid of it. So estrogen goes to work, and then it's gone. However, in our culture today, we have many molecules that we've created industrially that are very similar to estrogen. They're in plastics, they're in cosmetics, they're in drugs, they're in pesticides and fertilizers, which means they're everywhere. They're ubiquitous, these estrogen-like molecules. They're called xenoestrogens. Estrogen, like insulin, is a growth substance. It makes cells divide. Think what estrogen's main role is to make a baby. So it makes cells divide. It amplifies the stress response. It makes cortisol more active, stress hormone more active. So balancing out estrogen becomes really, really important. And there's lots of ways to do it. One of the most important things to do is improve intestinal function because estrogen is metabolized in the intestine. Another way to do it is to improve liver function and gallbladder function because estrogen is detoxified in the liver and carried out through bile, which is why women, when they start to have estrogen issues as they get older, will have gallbladder problems too. So working with gallbladder health, working with intestinal health, working with liver health. The number one cause of liver issues is insulin and blood sugar. So you can see just by working with the digestive system, with the blood sugar system, you're going to be improving liver health, you're going to be improving estrogen function, you're going to be improving dysglycemia or messed up blood sugar, and you're going to be improving your body's ability to produce energy and to absorb nutrients, all by working with insulin in the digestive system. One of the most important supplements for estrogen health is the ultimate EFAs. Ultimate EFAs are critical for all hormone health, but particularly for steroid hormones. And you can take a lot of ultimate EFAs. I talk to a lot of people who take 2 or 3 a day. That's not enough. You want 9 a day or 12 a day of the ultimate EFAs. They're nature's anti-inflammatories. They're nature's aspirin. They're involved in inflammation and anti-inflammation. They control both. And by the way, inflammation is important for healing. So whenever you hear inflammation or something causes inflammation, think that inflammation is part of the healing process. It's excess inflammation that's the problem. Your ultimate EFAs are your natural healers, especially for female reproductive health issues. For women who have menstrual problems, even if they don't have PCOS, EFAs are like a godsend. And by the way, most women will tell you, and most women on this call can confirm, that when you have problems with your menstrual cycle, or even when you're having your period, you're craving fatty foods. There's a very important reason for that. Your ultimate EFAs are like fat craving busters. When you start using your ultimate EFAs, not only will you notice that your female health issues improve, but you're not craving as much fatty foods, especially during that time of the month. And then the ultimate magnesium is a woman's favorite mineral. Magnesium, and the ultimate magnesium, as well as the OsteoFX, has some magnesium in there. That helps relax everything. There's a reason why women, when they have their periods, sometimes will get contractions, crampiness, muscle pain, all migraine headaches. All of these can be relieved by or are signs of relieved by magnesium or are signs of magnesium deficiency. So using your ultimate magnesium and your OsteoFX are also important. All this is to say, the healthy start pack, the healthy blood sugar pack, throw in the I-26 and probably the ultimate niacin and the rest of the digestive support supplements, and PCOS can disappear, reverse itself, not cure, reverse. The body can turn on a dime, but we got to turn on a dime. Chronic degenerative disease is when you're going this way. The body can regenerate if we if we turn on a dime, the body can turn on a dime. You know, chemical reactions, this is really interesting. You guys may remember from your high school biology or chemistry, chemical reactions are like A, and then there's an arrow that goes to B. You ever seen that, Rebecca?
Oh, yeah.
A, and then an arrow goes to B. But what most people don't remember or even recognize is that while A goes to B, there's always another arrow underneath where B is going to A. All chemical reactions are reversible. They go this way and they go this way. What we want to do is we want to turn the chemical reaction from going from A to B back to B to A. And you do that with oxygen, with detoxification, and with the mighty 90 essential nutrients. There's not a single chronic health challenge that cannot improve and begin to reverse itself with the mighty 90 essential nutrients, oxygenation, and eliminating toxicity. Not a one. Now, as I said before, this is really important. Depending on how far down the rabbit hole you are, it may take you longer to completely reverse. But, and this is where we come in as longevity representatives and as health coaches, we can show our patient that they can begin the reversal process quickly, within days or even sometimes within 1 day. They can start to feel better by eliminating toxicity, using the mighty 90 essential nutrients, and oxygenation, which involves breathing techniques as well as movement. So, yes, we don't want to make claims. That's absolutely correct. And Becca, I do tease you, but it's really important because we don't want to make claims. You know, they shut down companies for making claims. We don't need to make claims, though. What we can say is we can begin the reversal process with nutrition, oxygenation, detoxification, not because of us, but because it's in the body's nature to heal. For PCOS, as horrible as it is, with nutritional supplementation, detoxification strategies, oxygenation, working on digestive health, and working on the blood sugar system, every single PCOS patient's symptoms can begin to reverse within days, even sometimes within 1 day.
So I hope you folks were listening. We have lots of questions, but
yes.
Real quick, Pharmacist Ben.
Yes.
We talked about PCOS.
Yes.
And all the symptoms that affect women whenever they've got this estrogen imbalance and all of the cell starving, it's under a toxic load, it's not getting enough oxygen.
Yes.
There's things that are the similar for men.
Well, yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Because while cysts make both male hormones and female hormones are made in body fat. So if you're a guy and you're carrying body fat, you could absolutely have symptoms of PCOS, which include things like hair loss, gynecomastia, which is breast development, obesity, cancer, prostate disease. All of these are issues that involve the hormone system, which itself follows the blood sugar system. Whenever you hear about hormone issues, whenever you hear about male hormone issues, and a lot of guys are like, oh, how do I get my testosterone up? Or you'll have a woman who's got estrogen dominant symptoms, or maybe PCOS, or infertility, or problems with her menstrual cycle, or breast tenderness, or fibromyalgia, or endometriosis. You can see there's a whole host of health challenges that can affect women that don't affect men. And it's no accident that women are way more susceptible to autoimmune diseases and inflammatory diseases than men because of estrogen. So whenever you have any hormonal issue that involves estrogen or involves testosterone, female hormones or male hormones, think insulin. It's the major disruptor of steroid hormone synthesis, of reproductive hormone synthesis and detoxification. Insulin, whenever you have androgen issues, male hormone issues, whether it's erectile dysfunction or problems with your cardiovascular system or prostate issues, whatever it is, men have all kinds of testosterone issues. Your point is well taken. Acne, male pattern baldness, think insulin. Whenever you have a woman who's got a hormone problem, a steroid hormone problem, an estrogen problem, and there's a whole host of symptoms related to those, think insulin. Think insulin. Think insulin. When you think insulin, think blood sugar. Insulin is a growth substance. Insulin disturbs steroid hormone synthesis. Insulin increases body fat. We have a huge problem with excess ingestion of sugar, meaning excess secretion of insulin, and it is behind everything. That's why I said I had a triangle of disease, but you don't even need that. Just the base of the triangle of disease. I'm gonna have to change the name. The line of disease doesn't sound as cool, but we'll have to come up with something, Rebecca. But it is a line. It's two things. It's 2 points. How simple could it be? It's not medical. It's not medical. It's not medical. It's lifestyle. You guys, it's not medical. Don't let them trick you into thinking you have to go to the doctor when you have these symptoms. You not only do you not have to, they can't do anything. It's not medical.
Well, they can throw a chemical at it to suppress.
They can't help you take care of the problem. Now, I will say there's some medical representatives who are nutritionists, who understand biochemistry, who work with alternative and holistic and integrative medicine. So it's not like I'm not lumping all physicians into this one category, but the average GP or medical doctor doesn't have the skills to be able to address these problems, but it doesn't matter. Like you said earlier, Rebecca, we're so much more powerful than we know. We have so much more power over our body than we know. We have so much more control over the progression of our disease than we know. We are selling ourselves short. We're setting the bar so low on what we are able to do. That's what longevity is all about. I know I said this before, I'll say it again. I asked Doc one time why he called the company American Longevity. And he said to me, because my 2 favorite things. He said, it's America. We do this ourselves. We are our own authorities. We don't listen to a king, whether that king is King George in England or King Dr. Kildare or Dr. Marcus Welby. We don't listen to kings. We're our own authorities. And of course, longevity is about health. This is what this is about. This is what this mission is about. It's about being your own health authority. Where does the word authority come from? From the word author. When somebody's your authority, they're writing your story. How does that sound, guys? You like that? Somebody writing your story for you? That's what an authority does. They write our story for us. And then when they write our health story, that's even more insidious. That's why we have more doctors and more drugs and more devices and more hospitals and more protocols and more insurance companies. And we're the sickest culture in the history of the planet. As Alexander the Great said, 300 BC, I'm dying from the hands of too many doctors. Literally, Alexander the Great. He ended up dying when he was 33 years old or 32 years old. And he said, I'm dying at the hands of too many doctors. It's not their fault, you guys. It's not their fault. It's the model. It's the way they're taught and the way they look at it. If you go to a carpenter, he's going to try and use a hammer and nail to build you a cabinet. You go to a mechanic, he's going to take a screwdriver and a wrench and he's going to fix your engine. But if you go to your mechanic to try to fix your car, to build you a cabinet, or you go to a carpenter to fix your engine, it's not going to work. Doctors are technicians. They save lives. It's great. If you get in a car accident, you're not going to take vitamin C. You know, I don't know if I probably told you this story. I'll say it again. When I had my knee surgery many years ago, I remember they wheeling me out of the hospital on the gurney, or out of the operating room on the gurney. And I remember laying there and I heard this voice and it sounded like me, but I didn't think it was me, but it sounded like me. And it was going, morphine, give me morphine, just like that. I wasn't going, healthy start pack. I need the healthy start. I didn't say that. I said morphine. There's times when you need medicine. There's times when you need drugs. There's times when you need doctors. But the vast, vast majority of our health strategies are not medical. They're not doctor. And there's no drug that can help them. And that's why they'll say you're going to be on this drug the rest of your life. We have no idea what causes this. It's just genetic. It's your history. Your mother had diabetes, so you're going to have diabetes. Or it's a virus or a bacteria. All right. That's okay. I'm off my high horse.
So we've had a lot of comments, a lot of questions. One of them that I want to ask, you're talking about insulin, and you also spoke about cancer. And I know that it's recommended that if there is any type of cancerous cells within the body, to stay away from sugars because sugar feeds it. So the question is, can sugar cause it?
Absolutely. Sugar itself is a major stressor on the body. So the body has a system for getting that sugar out of the blood. You eat sugar, that represents a danger. Small amount of sugar, you need about a teaspoon of sugar in your blood. You have 4 liters of blood or so in your body. You need about a teaspoon of sugar in there. Anything more than that teaspoon is a danger.
Yeah.
So that the body has this complicated biochemical system for getting that sugar out of the blood. That's what insulin does. In fact, insulin does a lot of things. One of the things it does is it pulls sugar out of the blood. It feeds cells with sugar, but it also feeds cells nutrients. This is really important because as the body becomes subjected to more and more sugar and more insulin, eventually cells stop listening to insulin. It's like when you go to a concert and then it's really noisy, eventually your ears start to get used to the sound. When I was a kid, I grew up near JFK Airport in New York, and like really close, like 2 miles from JFK, and there were planes that would come really low. And we learned to ignore the planes. We would stop talking. We would be in a conversation, a plane, we would just stop talking. We didn't even know we were doing it. We just got used to doing it. The body gets used to things. The brain gets used to things. Cells get used to things. When cells get used to hormone secretion, that's called resistance. And you could be resistant to a lot of different hormones. There's cortisol resistance. There's insulin resistance. In fact, insulin resistance is now known to be one of the leading cause, if not the leading cause of all health challenges. It's called insulin resistance syndrome or metabolic syndrome. We talked about this before. So sugar itself represents a stressor, a major stressor, but insulin comes to the rescue. However, when the body stops listening to insulin, that's when the sugar levels stay high. When the sugar levels stay high, all kinds of health challenges can result from the reaction sugar has with various tissues called glycation. Elevated sugar in the blood vessels can glycate the tiny blood vessels in the eyes, leading to blindness or eye disease in the extremities, leading to amputations and neuropathies, leading to damage to the kidneys, kidney disease. Elevated sugar in the blood can also damage the lining of the blood vessels, leading to hypertension, leading to cholesterol deposits. And by the way, you tell this to anybody who's on a statin drug. The reason cholesterol goes up is because the body has been tricked into building. Our standard American diet tricks the body into building. It tricks the body into thinking it's supposed to be growing. Insulin is a growth substance. Elevated insulin or insulin resistance is the main reason for hypercortisolemia, for elevated cortisol. Elevated cortisol is a sugar problem. It's an insulin problem, not a cholesterol problem, which is why, by the way, if you look at the package insert on your statin drug, you'll see it's associated with diabetes. Statin drugs, that's one of the side effects, one of the adverse reactions that can occur with statin drugs. So when you start playing around with the cholesterol system, the building system of the body pharmacologically, you're throwing off all the chemistry. All our steroid hormones come from cholesterol. That's this intimate connection between blood sugar and the steroid hormones and cholesterol, which is like a pre-steroid hormone.
Right. Well, there's so much to go into it, but when it comes down to
what I want everybody to see, though, Rebecca, is that this is simple. This is not hard. And as much as I love when people call me, and I love talking to you guys, and I love helping people, you don't need me. You can do this yourself. You just have people do a food diary, watch your problem foods, do a food elimination diet, use digestive support supplements, work on the blood sugar system, reduce sugar intake, go ketogenic, intermittent fasting. These are all simple strategies that don't involve any medical knowledge, don't involve any medicine. We can all do this ourselves. And not only is this important for us to understand here on this call, for our clients and our friends and our loved ones and our neighbors, this is so empowering.
yes,
You are going to be able to restore hope back to people who have been told they're going to be on a drug the rest of their life and there's nothing they can do. Back to parents whose kids are suffering and the doctor has no idea why they have this skin condition or this immune condition or these chronic ear infections or this kidney problem or this digestive problem. That's what this is about here, you guys. As much as I love talking about chemistry and biochemistry, this is a message of inspiration. This is a message of hope. And if you can transmit that to your patient, that is the Lord's work. That is the most godly thing we could ever do on this planet, is give the hopeless hope and inspire people who are uninspired. And there's a lot of people who are like that, and those are all our potential customers.
Well, Ben, you and I both love the fact that more and more people are waking up to the fact that the system is not helping them. And it's not that system that's going to get them to where they want to be on their health journey.
That's right. That's where
It's
me come
within
in.
us, you and I, everybody that's listening and watching to this program. It's within you. It's within you. And it makes it that within you are choices that have to be made to make those changes to be able to allow your body and the cells to not be starving, to get enough oxygen, and to not be overloaded with those toxins.
Including sugar.
It's simple. So simple. So AJ came up with the 2 dots of disease.
Okay, the 2 dots.
Or
That's a little
or
clunky, AJ. We'll have to work on that a little bit. We'll have to fine tune that. But I appreciate
the
the attempt
plane,
to try.
the plane of disease.
The plane of
So
disease. Oh,
the
okay.
plane of disease. Do you have a hard stop? We've got 3 minutes and we've got 6 hands
All right.
and
No, let's take 6. Let's go fast.
okay. So Marilyn, go ahead and unmute yourself. What questions do you have for
everybody? I have 2 questions. If a
Yes.
woman who has prolapsed uterus, what can
Yes.
she do?
Okay, so let's talk about prolapses. Okay. I think I talked about this on George Norrie the other night. So all of the internal organs are embedded inside the body like fruit in a jello mold. Right? You got all the organs of the body, your stomach, your spleen, your intestine, your uterus, all the bladder, all these different organs, they're embedded like pineapple and honeydew and cantaloupe in a jello mold. Over time, as we age, as we get older, our internal jello deteriorates. This is the leading cause of the misery that's associated with aging, is jello deterioration. You can call it JDD, jello deterioration disease. What is jello? When you eat jello, what is jello, Rebecca or Marilyn?
A gel-like substance.
But what is it? Gelatin. What is gelatin? Gelatin is collagen.
I was going to say protein.
It's collagen. It's connective tissue. The connective tissue is the most important part of the body when it comes to health and wellness. There's 4 tissues. You've got heart tissue, cardiac tissue. I'm sorry, you got muscle. Forget it. Cross that. You got muscle tissue. You've got nerve tissue. You've got covering tissue. That's called epithelial tissue. And you've got connective tissue. The connective tissue supports all the other tissue. It supports all of the cells. The connective tissue communicates to the cells. It electrifies the cells. It oxygenates the cells. It detoxifies the cells. It feeds the cells. The blood is liquid connective tissue. As we age, our connective tissue deteriorates, and this is I call this blobification. You ever notice how as we get older, we blobify? I'm in the skin business, and let me tell you something. People are terrified of blobification. They'll inject all kinds of things, have all kinds of things pulled and tightened just to keep themselves from blobifying. We blobify because our connective tissue deteriorates. One of the coolest things the connective tissue does is it organizes the liquids. It structures the water. When the connective tissue deteriorates, we turn into a puddle, into a mush. When you have a prolapse, your jello, your connective tissue is breaking down and your pineapple is dropping. A prolapsed uterus is a dropped uterus from the connective tissue deterioration. So once it prolapses, you're not going to pull it back up. But your job is to build the connective tissue so no further damage occurs. The single most important thing that you could do for anti-aging is build your connective tissue. In fact,
how much is enough? How much is enough?
Let me just say this one last thing, and I'll tell you
how much is enough daily.
Hang on just a quick second.
Okay.
I just want to say this because I want to give Doc props, because this is how I fell in love with Doc and Doc's message. When I heard him on Dead Doctors Don't Lie talking about the connective tissue and talking about the pig pack and talking about organ meats and cartilage, before Doc was the mineral doc, he was the connective. Am I right, Doc? You were the connective tissue doc. But Doc was one of the first guys to talk about the importance of building connective tissue with cartilage, with the pig pack. That when I heard that, I'd only heard pharmacists say that. I was like, that guy knows what he's talking about right there. Building the connective tissue is the sine qua non of anti-aging. So how do you do it? Marilyn says, how do you do it? You get yourself on the healthy bone and joint pack. Everybody should be on the healthy bone and joint pack, not just people with arthritis. You know, that's what we sell it for. It's for people with arthritis and joint problems, but it's for the connective tissue, which is everything. When you build the connective tissue, you support the health of every system in the body, every cell in the body. Cancer itself is a connective tissue related disease, all cancer. The connective tissue, by the way, is like a molecular sieve. It's like a spaghetti strainer that cleans the blood. When we have toxins in the blood, they get deposited in the connective tissue. And connective tissue deterioration is rapidly accelerated by toxicity in the blood. Connective tissue, toxicity in the connective tissue leads to immune attack on the connective tissue. This is where autoimmune diseases come from. Building the connective tissue is important for anti-cancer. It's important for autoimmune diseases. It's important for an anti-aging appearance. The skin, the connective tissue in the skin. Ladies, you don't want wrinkles, and men. Get on the healthy bone and joint pack. We got to call it the healthy bone and joint and wrinkle pack because it's the same mechanism. FYI, connective tissue also is important for the heart. Electrical energy is passed through the connective tissue to allow the heart to beat. So tachycardias and fibrillations, atrial fibrillation are all related to deterioration of the heart connective tissue. The heart sits on a skeleton of connective tissue. Building the connective tissue is the very, very essence of anti-aging and good health. Everybody should be on the healthy bone and joint pack. How much, Marilyn? As much as you want. You can take as much glucogel caps as you want. You can take the whole damn bottle if you want.
Okay, excellent. Can I have one other question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry, I know other people.
No, no.
I have a person with like rheumatoid arthritis. I think it's like it's like they call it Heperdin's nodes in their fingers.
So
bone spurs in the finger joints.
Right.
And I want to know, is that rheumatoid arthritis or that osteoporosis?
No, it's not. It doesn't sound like rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease of the joints. I didn't hear what you said with the nodes.
It's Heberdin. They call them Hyperdin nodes. Guess it's bone
Heperdin nodes are, they're calcium. They're calcium deposits.
So it's just
yes. One of the ways the body manifests toxicity from cellular death and from toxins is via a drop in pH. The blood has to have a very tightly controlled pH. Now, we don't have time to talk about pH here, but real quickly, just to sum it up, and I'd love to talk about this maybe next time because it's really interesting. pH is a measurement of how acid or non-acid something is. Acid represents death and stress. It also represents growth, by the way, because the body's response to stress is growth. But chronic acid in the blood has to be neutralized. The body's mechanism for neutralizing acids, secondary to toxicity, secondary to sugar intake, secondary to cellular death, is calcium from the bones. Calcium is the body's alkalinizing mineral. It alkalinizes the blood. But where does the calcium come from? It comes from the bones. So number one, when your blood is acidic, chronically acidic, you're going to be dealing with osteoporosis issue, weak bones issues, because calcium is going to be taken from the bones. But number two, calcium can then deposit in places, including the joints. And this is where calcification of the joints come from. This is where bony spurs come from. Also, calcification in soft tissues can become calcified. How interesting. One of the ways we die is we turn to stone via calcification. Our brain calcifies, our kidney calcifies, our heart calcifies. And calcification of tissues is a leading cause of death as well as pain and misery when it deposits in the joints. It's a sign of blood toxicity or blood acidity following toxicity in the blood as well as sugar intake. And it all boils down, Marilyn, to the digestive system and the blood sugar system. That's how you deal with it. Now, the OsteoMag can help counteract calcification. Magnesium antagonizes calcium. So anybody who's has calcification issues should be doing the OsteoMag as well as the OsteoFX. Also, there's a strategy called chelation. Chelation is involves nutrients that can magnetically attract heavy metals and calcium and various dirty substances, toxic substances out of the blood. The CFX is a natural chelating agent. The ultimate selenium is a natural chelating agent. And plant-derived minerals are among nature's best chelating agents. Chelating agents. So plant-derived minerals, CFX, the ultimate selenium, and also strategies for keeping toxicity out of the blood and keeping sugar out of the blood, and then the OsteoMag and the OsteoFX.
Great, fantastic. Wow, we're getting a lot of stuff covered today, Ben. Let's move right over
Let's
to
do one
Mary.
more. One more. What's the most
All
important?
right, Mary, you have our last question today. Go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
So they took half my colon out of my stomach.
Where did they put it?
About 6 months ago because of the tumors. And I went to a special retreat, expensive, in Florida, and they got us on all vegetarian food, and they claimed, do not eat sugar, we're going to starve the cancer. I was there for a month. I came back. I not only was having a coughing attack all the time over there, I was having a breathing problem. And now I've been here, I've been back about 3.5 weeks, and now I can't walk. I can only walk down the hall and maybe in the family room, and then I got to sit down.
What part of the colon did they take out? Do you know?
The tumors were in the cecum. And so wherever related, they had to take half of it. And I had this diagnosis 5 years ago, but I ran away from it, hoping to get to this transformation of health program in Florida, but they wouldn't let me in because of the COVID. And then I guess there was only one person I was always talking to, and she was very, very unfriendly. And I said, look, I paid my money. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Let me talk to the owners of this place. And anyway, I don't want to get as passionate as you, Ben. You're very passionate. I love it. But I can't believe this is happening. I can tell you my age and everything if you want it. And really,
well, hang on. Let's just in the interest of time, and you should call me, and I'll give you some personal help here. But just in the interest of time and helping other folks understand what's going on.
Okay.
The cecum is where you absorb your electrolytes. So if you don't have a cecum immediately, you're going to have some issues with nutrition and nutrient absorption. That's first of all, and that might have something to do with your fatigue. So I would be doing lots and lots of liquid nutrients. Beyond Tangy Tangerine is ideal. This is one of the reasons why I love the Beyond Tangy Tangerine so much. Not only is it loaded, I mean, absolutely packed with nutrients, but it's liquid. You drink it. Now, of course, there's also the tablets, but I like the liquid better. So liquid, and anything you do this liquid is going to support your health. Liquid nutrition, that is. That's first of all. Second of all, they never took care of the problem, Mary. They took the cancer out, but the environment that led to the cancer is still there. Nobody's corrected that.
well,
So
I
now-
had an appointment with the oncologist today, and
He's
I
not going to
didn't
be able to do it. He's
I
not
didn't
going to be
show
able to.
up. I didn't
No.
show up.
No, look, God love the oncologist. He wants to save your life. I'm not knocking the oncologist, but they're not taking care of the soil that led to the cancer tree. Cancer grows in a dirty soil. If you don't take care of the soil and you take out the cancer, you haven't done anything, but now it's even worse because you've lost one of your major routes of absorption of nutrients. So now it's even worse. So we got to take care of the problem that led to the cancer. Cancer is not cancer. Nobody has colon cancer. There's no such thing as colon cancer. There's colon cell cancer. Cancer is a cellular disease that gets treated as an organ disease. So your cells became cancers because they were starved, suffocated, and toxic. The only reason the only thing go wrong with cells, starvation, suffocation, toxification. You haven't addressed that. You've only gotten rid of the cancer, but the soil is still dirty, and that's why cancers remit. I mean, sorry, that's why cancer's recidivized. People get cancer's return. They'll tell you you've never had a cure for cancer. They'll tell you you're never cured of cancer. They only have a 5-year survival rate because they haven't changed the cause of the cancer. Cancer doesn't just happen. Not like you're sitting there minding your own business and a little cancer leprechaun shot a cancer arrow at you, and all of a sudden you got cancer. It's the environment that that led to the cancer. They call that the seed and soil hypothesis, by the way. That means the soil is responsible for the growth of the seed. In your case, the cancer seed. So you got to do all the things we all have to do, but you have to do it with more vigilance. So number one, you should be eating nutrient dense and calorie light. And that's why supplementation is so helpful, because obviously there's no calories, it's all nutrients. So you want to be eating less food and more nutrition. They call that the CRAN diet or the cron diet: calorie restriction, optimum nutrition.
I love food.
What's
I'm
that?
a foodie.
Well, guess what? Guess what? We have to get over our love affair with food, because, and I know I love food too. We all love food, and food is, from an evolutionary perspective, food activates all kinds of pleasure chemistry, and it's fun. But think about how much of our lives are ruled by a little postage size square, a square on the tip of our tongue that represents our taste buds. Imagine if you didn't have taste buds, how much simpler your life would be, right? But we all have them, so you have to get that under control. You can have small amounts of things that you like, but you got to get it under control. You can fill up your body. I make a fiber drink every morning to fill up my body, especially when I don't have time for breakfast. You get yourself some flax seeds, grind them up in a coffee grinder, and then put some water and maybe a touch of Beyond Tangerine in there, and then a little stevia or cinnamon, and you make a fiber drink every morning. And you can make it before meals, it'll fill you up. You can make it in the morning, it'll fill you up for breakfast. You get as much protein as an egg or two, plus you get all kinds of good fats and vitamins and phytosterols, and it's tremendously filling. You do it several times a day. It's a great weight loss tool. And it tastes good too.
Just the flax seed and
ground the flax seeds. You can throw in some chia seeds if you want. Here's another little trick for you if you love food and you want to wean yourself off of eating a lot of food. Get yourself some chia seeds and some unsweetened almond milk. Unsweetened almond milk and chia seeds. Put the chia seeds in there. Throw in some into unsweetened almond milk. Throw in some cinnamon and some clove, some nutmeg maybe, and you make the most delicious chia seed pudding.
Oh, I like that.
Super filling, super delicious. And you get all the nutrients from the chia seeds, all the wonderful fats from the chia seeds. Those are two things you could do for foods. Hack into your sugar cravings with your TMR shake. Hack into your salt cravings with
tangerine.
No, the TMR shake. That'll when you feel like you want something sweet, do a TMR shake with some almond milk and crack an egg in there if you want to up the nutritional value. And then if you find yourself craving salt, use your minerals, your plant-derived minerals. Any plant-derived minerals will hack into salt cravings. You can also throw in some Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt in there too. And then if you have fat cravings, ultimate EFAs. Between ultimate EFAs, your plant-derived minerals, more protein, maybe some Himalayan salt, you take care of all your food cravings. The less you eat, the longer you live, Mary.
Oh no! And the other thing is that I looked at all. I was told that because I was in a clinic for cancer, that we have to stay off of sugar for 2 years at minimum just to get this starve the cancer cell.
I don't know what they mean by staying off of sugar, because everything has sugar in it. But if they're talking about restricting your intake of
and
sucrose,
fruit, no fruit.
Well, yeah.
And your products and your drink 90s tangerine. Everything has, they saw it over there. I brought it and they said,
that's
oh,
not,
you got elderberry or whatever's in there.
They don't know what that's incorrect. You don't want to eat big fruits, big melons. Fruit today has been bred, genetically modified for thousands of years to be super sweet and to have all the medicine taken out. Fruit has medicine in it. There is bitter. The pith and the peel are where the medicine is in a fruit. And inside the fruit, over the course of the last 10,000 years, as we genetically modified our fruit, we figured out how to breed fruit that had the medicine taken out of the pulp and the sugar put in. It has extra sugar. You know, apples today look like this. On the African savannah, you were lucky to get a berry. You know, from an evolutionary perspective, we didn't have apples like this, and we didn't have watermelons and honeydews, and everybody thinks about fruit as being good. And yes, there's some good things in fruit, but the medicine in a fruit is in the peel and in the pulp. I'm sorry, in the pith. The pulp is where all the sugar is. So that's not true, Mary. I don't know who told you that's bad information. They mean well. I'm not knocking them. I'm sure they mean well. But what you really want to watch out for is the super sweet sugar, as well as the flouries, the grains, the pastas, the rices, the potatoes that break down quickly into sugar. Those are
What
the
about
things you want to
keto
avoid.
bread? What about keto bread? I didn't.
You know, if you have to have some bread, it's probably better than nothing, but you don't need it. There's not a lot of, if you absolutely crave it and you have to have bread, have a small piece of it, you know, but it's not like it's gonna,
Yeah, I get it.
you
I
know,
got
it's not
the
gonna
drink
add
that-
anything to you.
Yeah, I got the drink that you want us to have.
Yeah, the
It's-
TMR shake is so delicious, and it's filled with protein and all kinds of nutrients, and Stan is a great guy. He makes it. So you'll
Who's the
help Stan out.
TMR? Who has that? You guys have
Longevity.
that?
Yeah, it's a longevity product. Get it off the,
Okay,
off the,
and you
yeah.
know, I did have a drink. I finally did, after over a month and a half, not be on my tangerine, and I had it yesterday, and I
Yeah.
almost could walk for a minute before I stopped and fell over.
Hang on, Mary. Are you telling me you haven't been doing your tangy tangerine?
No, they stopped
You-
me for, I was there for a
I'll
month.
tell you what. I'll tell you what. You want to do? We'll do a three-way phone call. Put them on the phone, Mary. Me, you, and them. We'll talk.
Love it.
You know,
We'll
I love
see.
talking to everybody at Longevity. It's really great, but sometimes I want to talk to people who disagree. I want to talk to people who think, you know, there's a lot of people out there. Oh, you could get everything you need from the 4 food groups. Blah 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 blah. You know, I want to talk to them. So get your friend, whoever told, or your therapist.
And no meat, no meat, no meat, because meat is not, unless you're a
Meat's a little
millionaire,
bit
you
of a
can get
problem.
grass
Meat's-
grown.
Yeah, meat's a little bit of a problem.
So
but
I
you
don't eat meat. I'm a vegan because
Well, you know, here's the problem with vegetarians and vegans. There's no toxic compounds in meat. There's nothing in meat that is going to cause a toxic inflammatory reaction in your body. Meat might be hard to digest, especially with you know, missing part of your intestine. And by the way, you're going to have bacterial problems too, because the cecum is where there's lots of, you know, there's bacteria there too. But there's lots of veggies
I'll call you
that
out.
there's lots of veggies that can initiate immune reactions, lots of them. So if you think you're going to be better off by being a vegetarian or a vegan, you could run into a lot more problems than if you just go paleo, because of the lectins, the plant defense molecules in the meats, in the plants.
I thought that was just in the beans.
No,
And
it's beans are one of the richest sources, but they're in everything. Tomatoes,
I
potatoes.
don't do, no tomatoes.
Yeah, that's probably why they want you to avoid lectins. But you know, there's all kinds of molecules. There's a molecule called histamine. Let's talk about histamine next week, Rebecca. There's a molecule called histamine that your body makes that are made by bacteria and that are found in foods. Histamine is a growth substance. It makes cells divide. So cancer and histamine go hand in hand. So you may be having histamine problems. You may have had histamine problems for all we know. That's why I want to talk to you, Mary. All right,
I
you
want
guys.
to talk to you too. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ben.
My pleasure.
You
God
might
bless
be
you.
the person I've been praying for, my advocate. I've
Well,
been
God
praying
bless you.
for
That's
someone.
what we all can be. Is we can all be we can all be advocates, health advocates for people. Thank you.
All right, Mary, check the chat. I have the phone number for him in the chat for you. Pharmacist Ben, another great episode. We did not get to all the questions,
You're
and we
welcome.
still went over. So next week, folks, tune in, histamines, and hopefully we can leave additional questions or additional time for even more questions, because there are so many. Folks, the TMR stands for total meal replacement. It is something that you can get from your longevity distributor, or go to the dailywithdoc.com website, look up TMR, an amazing shake, as Pharmacist Ben mentioned, and it tastes good.
Oh, let me say one last thing, Rebecca,
On
before I
myself.
forget. Before I forget, Becca.
Go.
I'm doing a talk in my lab tomorrow. I know probably not a lot of folks in Colorado here, but you can go watch it on Zoom.
Okay.
So we're doing it's a business building class, and we're going to talk about products. Myself, Dr. Randy Shannon, Tom and Denise Chenal, and Dr. Taylor Mitchell. And we're all going to be doing talks about the products and about the business. So if you guys want to attend, Becca, do you know Tom Chenal's Zoom? I forgot what it is.
Yes, I do. I will get that information to AJ. AJ will help me put it together. He'll do it actually
Okay, good.
into a newsletter. We'll get that sent out for all that are subscribed to our email list. So if you're not subscribed, everybody, make sure that you go to dailywithdoc.com and sign up for our email list so that you can get information right into your email box with links on how you can get more connected in being your own health advocate. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Ben. And Dr. Taylor Mitchell is going to be on our program starting next month, the second Tuesday of every month. So I'm excited to have her as well. She is just a fantastic little fireball. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs,
Yes.
thank you for being
Thank
part
you.
of making our Friday fantastic in the fact that we can be our own health advocates and take health into our own hands. There was another comment, I'll have to get it from Debbie, in regards to what you can name that horizon. It's the horizon of disease.
All
There
right.
you go.
Okay. Okay.
Horizon of disease. That's a good one, Debbie.
That's not bad.
So,
Thank you, Debbie.
fantastic. I love it. Well, on the screen that I have with me right now are our crew, our Zoom crew for the day. We have Marilyn, who brought questions in from emails and also from the different platforms. She also does such a fantastic job putting information, dictating it into text that is being shared on the Zoom, which is a great reason to join us live, folks. dailywithdoc.zoom.com. We're going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. And it is dailywithdoc.zoom.com. So thank you, Marilyn, for all that you do. We have Albert, who is bringing people into the room as they're coming into the waiting room when they do go to dailywithdoc.zoom.com, and keeping an eye on the videos to make sure that this is a safe G-rated place to be. Thank you, Albert. And we have Phyllis, who is out bringing in those questions in and answering comments out on different platforms. And she also is putting information into the chat that is being shared. Just fantastic opportunity to have Phyllis here with us, as she is one of the original American longevity distributors. So thank you, Phyllis. And we have AJ, who is helping make sure everything is running smoothly on the different platforms, helped me get my computer that had a fatal crash yesterday during our broadcast back online so that we could be live streaming again today. So I could not do that without AJ. We have so many amazing distributors and people that are part of this longevity family, whether they're part of the Daily with Doc or the Critical Health News team. We are family working together with a common cause to be lights in the darkness when people have lost hope. Folks, us sharing this message brings hope to somebody else so that they know that there's something more that they can do all on their own to be able to change their health journey. I just get breathless with the emails, the phone calls, the people that are reaching out saying how appreciative they are that they found and gave us 90 days. I did it myself, and the fact that I did it myself and I had the benefits that I have, which you had mentioned, gelatin and collagen. I mean, after losing 100 pounds, I don't have a lot of extra skin. And I think it really has to do with being on 5 glucogel 3 times a day, in addition to the collagen and the plant-derived minerals. and the OsteoFX and the Tangy Tangerine and the EFAs. And then working on my hormonal imbalance. Folks, we are a one-stop shop with products that have proven to be solutions to problems that people are facing every single day. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. Thank them. And if you're watching this program, share it with somebody else so that they also can realize the benefits and have that glimpse of hope that they can do something to change their health journey. My name is Becca Dukes. It is my honor and privilege. And I bring this message to you with a full heart, knowing that if you take action, you will realize a difference. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us here on Daily with Doc. Join us next week as we're bringing more empowering information to you. Don't forget to go out and sign up for our email list. I do want to thank Barbara and Madru and others for sharing on the different platforms, out on Twitter, out on YouTube, out on Rumble. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I do get those little notes that let me know who is sharing. It just touches my heart that other people have a heart to help others as well. And I know you do too. If you do, to the point where you want to be part of a team that is working together to create a healthier world, get back with the person that shared this program with you. Again, if there's no one to thank, give our call team a call at 855-949-3377, and we'll get you connected so that you can start making impacts in your own life, in your family's life, in your community, and together we can make an impact around the world. Bye for now.
Bye.